Hello guys, we're back live, and sorry again, we had an issue with the network, so we're really sorry for the inconvenience. Without further ado, we're gonna start. So we're gonna start with introducing our guest. I want to greet him first. How are you today, Doctor? And how you feel
Yeah,
about this live discussion today?
thank you. Demba. I appreciate hosting me here in your online radio and TV show here, and I'm glad to be here and talk more about Africa.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It's an honor for us to have you, as I said. So, for people who want to know a little bit about Dr. Chiuri is the CEO and the chairman of Global Standard Resource and Institute here in the United States. He's a certified global standard and lead auditor for various accredited audit, including quality management system. He completed a doctorate in business administration and global management through the School of Advanced Studies and University of Phoenix, Arizona, here in the U.S. in 2015. He had a lot of quality and food safety experience in some leading company. Among them, we can cite Coca-Cola, we can cite Kellogg's. So Dr. Chiuri became an auditor in 2005, and he has performed more than 600 audits, certified over 400 company in ISO, SQF, BRC, FSSC, and other third-party certifications. So he knows what he's doing. He has worked with program funded with the World Bank, especially in his homeland country in Kenya. He's also involved in a lot of community-based organization here. He's a speaker, counselor, trainer, facilitator. He's leading in a lot of social enterprises and initiatives, among which the one that allow us to know each other is the Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium, GDDF, Pendle for Africa Community Initiative, Council of Elders Diaspora Midwest USA, and the Aganza Festival and Africa Diaspora Development Institute, ADDI, which has very high level members in it, like Dr. Arikana and Professor Lumumba. So a little bit about Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium, because we're talking about diaspora today. It's an umbrella organization bringing together diverse diaspora organizations that are engaged in uplifting and improving the African diaspora community in various sectors, including education, social, economic, governance, technology, youth empowerment. I've had the experience since I were able to pitch for my startup, and I had some promises. They are involved in cultural and international affairs. So this is a little bit Dr. Chiuri, buyer. There's a lot more, but we just selected a few pieces in order to dive in. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section. If you want to call us, just let us know. We'll give you a number to reach out in order to be part of this conversation. So, Dr. Chiuri, I hope I didn't miss anything very important. Anything you want to add to this extensive or short resume that I presented today?
No, Mr. Demba, you covered all the bases very well, and you covered everything. Of course, I come from Africa, and I also come specifically from Eastern Africa in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya.
Awesome. How long have you been in the United States? Since you come from Kenya.
Yeah, so I've been in the United States since 2002, and during that time, I've been able to move from several states here, and also to improve my education and professional qualifications. But currently, right now, I'm residing in Columbus, Ohio, with my family here.
Awesome, awesome. Life is good in Columbus, Ohio, as we can see. From the most recent festival I attended, the Aganza Festival. But before we go to the Aganda Festival, because that's a very important event, it has a lot of significance for me. We're going to just talk about Africa in general. What do you think of the situation in Africa today? After many many years of colonization, what is your view of Africa today?
Yeah, so as most of your viewers know and understand, the last country that was experiencing colonialism and that gained independence in around 2015 was Southern Sudan. And as you very well know, many countries of Africa were colonized by European nations like Britain, like France, like Netherlands, like Germany, all those European superpowers, they colonized Africa. And while the bulk of the nations from Africa gained their independence somewhere around 50 years ago, anywhere from 1957, with Ghana and countries like Kenya in 1963, and others up to 1980 with Zimbabwe. All those countries have experienced different challenges, but common methods of trying to uplift their citizens towards improving their lifestyle and so forth. So there has been a lot of challenges in Africa. Every country has faced different challenges, but all of them come together under the AU, that is African Union, to see how they can improve their situation.
That's awesome. So, what are the lessons that we can learn from that experience, from your perspective?
As you perhaps know, Africa is a diverse continent,
Yes.
brimming with opportunities here, from clean energy, from climate, smart agriculture, to homegrown digital solutions and innovations. African countries are, of course, accelerating their efforts to develop sustainability. This is a continent that is a home to almost 1.2 billion people.
Yes.
So it's a continent, it's the world's largest free trade zone, and it offers a lot of human natural resources. And as you very well know, when we talk about natural resources, this is where colonialism entered Africa, because colonialism was more interested in the resources that are in Africa to develop those nations that I referred to earlier. And there was very little of give back to Africa. There was very little in terms of developing sustainable infrastructure for Africa's growth by the colonialisms. So there has been a lot of challenge from nations that have been imagined to create sustainable development patterns for their people. So these challenges have been in education, they have been in technology, they have been in economic empowerment, in social governance, in preparing even the infrastructure that would be good for economic management of those countries.
So as I can see, we went over some of the challenges that Africa, is going through as a result of a lot of sufferance, a lot of years of sufferance that it has to endure. But from my understanding, you here in the diaspora and all the organizations that I just listed earlier are not just crossing your hands and your fingers. You're not just waiting. You're doing something in order to bring solutions. So the Aganza Festival, I had the chance to attend. What is the history behind that event? Can you tell me about the event?
Thank you, Mr. Ndeba, for even asking that question. It goes back to a year ago when Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium leadership, which is composed of very, very able and qualified and experienced people, and with various expertise. We have people like Dr. Koisaba. We have people like Dr. Lucy Mackenzie, who are the vice presidents of this organization. We have also Professor Peter Ndiangoi, and others like Tony Opande and Ephraim Gitonga, our national treasurer. We also have our upcoming secretary, Miriam Omala Govin, and others like Marian Gates, who heads our economic sector. So we sat down together with our leadership and we started focusing on who we are going to invite into our diaspora to come and engage us on ways that we can be able to improve not just Kenya, but Africa. Because principally, most of the members initially within the global diaspora are from Kenya, but we have since attracted people from other nations around Africa. And so we wanted to look at somebody who represents the entire Africa in terms of their thought, in terms of their practice, and in terms of their reach. And we zeroed in on Professor PLO Lumumba and also Dr. Ambassador Arikana. And so we started arranging what we are going to do. And from that, we came up with now the US tour that we organized for PLO Lumumba. And this tour was to cover several states in the month of July, and would culminate in a gala night and a festival where we would be celebrating our cultural identity as Africans. And there's no better way to celebrate our culture and our identity than through the Angaza Festival, which we always hold every year on the month of July to celebrate our African culture. And so that's how we handled all this. And Professor PLO started his tour in Florida, where he was able to speak and cover various challenges. He was covering challenges in the area of social justice, in the areas of governance, in the areas of youth empowerment, in the areas of women leadership. And then finally, he was to talk about our culture identity. And that's how we ended up with the gala evening.
That's really awesome to have those big names of Pan-Africanism, coming into the U.S., especially for PLO Lumumba, and just having this tour, talking to the diaspora. I was really impressed to see them, and every single speech they made was really great, and they really impacted me in a positive way in a lot of African and terminating with that Aganza festival was also awesome. What really marked me was these little kids that were born here in the US and that were dancing to their cultural dances. Like what is the idea behind that, involving those children to the event? What are you trying to build with that?
There's an African saying, and I think it comes from Eastern Africa, that says that whoever forgets their culture becomes a slave,
yes,
of another. And so we are a believer. In fact, it goes like this: Msahau mila ni mtumwa. Meaning that direct translation is that if you forget your culture, you now become a slave of another culture. And so within Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium, we have realized the need to embrace our cultural roots, because if we forget our cultural roots, we'll be like this tree that is not dependent on its roots, and it's going to wither and die away. And that is why we are active in trying to help the next generation know that they cannot abandon their culture. In fact, we are doing it in such a dedicated way that together with Africa Diaspora Institute, led by Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Arikana, we are going to launch Swahili language.
Wow.
Swahili language as the language of choice for the African diaspora, so that we can be able even to be speaking in a language that is of our own, even if we are fluent in other languages, but at least we have one that we can be able to converse in as African people.
Swahili language, in fact, which is a very well-spoken language all over Africa, especially in the Eastern Africa region, by millions and millions of people. It's internationally recognized language, and on top of that, it's a very beautiful language. When you hear some musics where they have very famous artists all around the world singing in Swahili, you may probably be singing one Diamond Platinum song in Swahili without knowing the language. I actually love that language, and thank you so much, Doctor, to bring that opportunity to the diaspora, to the kids here in the diaspora, to learn that language, to connect with the motherland through that language. So, and you mentioned Ambassador Arikana. What an amazing person, an amazing personality. I had the chance to see her, to listen to her speeches. Very strong, positive impact on a lot of people here in the diaspora. So bringing her, having her join this, was it easy? Because she's not from Kenya, she's from Zimbabwe, I believe. Was it easy to have her join this this whole organization and this whole festival and the tour?
No, actually, she subscribes very much to whatever that we are doing under Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium. In fact, she sits on our advisory board. We have, ADDI is an affiliate organization of One Voice Consortium. So we are able to interact and share whatever our resources and synergies are in various areas. We are working very well in areas of education, trade, banking, and economic development of Africa together with ADDI. So when we invited her to come for the tour, she, felt that's a natural path for her to be able to support other Africans in the diaspora. In fact, our goal is to bring all the African diaspora together through our efforts of both of the One Voice Consortium and ADDI, so that we can be able to develop Africa. As you perhaps know, and maybe your viewers know, the African Union declared the people of African descent who are out there, or people who are outside Africa, as their sixth region. Meaning that even if you are in United States or Europe or Asia, but you belong to Africa, either your parents or your descendants are from Africa, you qualify to be in the African Union.
Wow.
If you are in that small country outside Africa, you are recognized. As long as you are an African diaspora, they recognize you as their sixth region. And towards that now, African Union requested for the creation of 6 smart cities all across Africa to be able to for people to be able to invest back in Africa. And that is what we're
going to go into that a little bit, because I really wanted to touch on the things that you did and the things that you guys are doing. So for our viewers, we are live from the African Dream YouTube and Facebook channel, where with Dr. Robert Chiuri, and Dr. Chiuri is today just giving us the opportunity to learn a little bit more about some initiatives, some great initiatives that are being taken by some members of the diaspora to improve quality of life in Africa, and also to help people from the diaspora to go to Africa. We're going to dive in a little bit into more specific things that they're doing. So going back to the Aganza Festival, you guys didn't just do a festival, but you had, prior to that, a day dedicated to to business, to finances, and we had great minds in the domain of finance that came that made some expose and just describe some opportunities for people to invest in Africa, to have our own bank. That was a great move. To also build back in Africa smart cities, just like you mentioned. So, can you tell us a little bit about that? But before, I want people to know what is the One Voice Global Consortium. I want people to understand the canvas in which we are putting all this initiative in, and then from that point they will understand a little bit more. What are what are you doing in order to be able to have a bank, for people to have share in that bank, for people to invest in the bank, for people to also buy houses in Africa. So can you tell us a little bit about One Voice Consortium, Doctor?
Thank you so much, Demba, for that question. And that question brings to heart the goal of One Voice Consortium. The Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium's mission and vision is to uplift and improve the lifestyle and livelihoods of people from Africa, whether they are in the diaspora or back in the continent. And to do that, we have several sectors that we operate in. We operate in the educational sector, in the economic sector, which covers issues of trade and banking, and commerce and industrial development. We also have technology sector. We have our governance sector, and also areas around cultural and social empowerment of our people, and many other sectors that are there to support what we are doing. And during our various discussions and looking at various studies, we have discovered that yes, Africa, we may have been given political independence, but we still need economic independence.
Yes.
People listen to you when you have resources.
Yes.
People listen to you when you can be able to have resources that are impactful and that can translate people's lives, and that can enable Africans across the continent to live healthier and live wealthier and have prosperous lives. That is the whole goal. So towards that, we discovered that one of the best ways we can do is to have economic sector empowerment as a central focus of our mission. We are a non-political organization. We don't delve in politics. We delve on socio-economic empowerment of our people, and that becomes our platform. Our platform is to have socio-economic deliverables that are impacting our people. And towards that, we have seen other countries, especially countries that are in the Far East, countries that were at the same kind of development status like African countries, countries like Korea, Singapore, China. They were in the same level that Kenya or other African countries were almost like 50 years ago. And so those countries have done well. So we have seen that if we can be able to study certain models, economic models that other countries have done, we can be able to spur growth in Africa. And towards that, we have discovered that and I'm not going to say we have all the solutions within One Voice Consortium, but we have seen that one of the ways that you can improve somebody's health is by having a better diet or having a better medicine if you're suffering from something. So what I'm going to subscribe here is, what is the diet that Africa requires to get better, to live healthier, to be more wealthier. And towards that diet, and if you can, if I can just use that the letters that are in that diet and say D for development partners, Africa needs good development partners.
Okay.
People who can be able to work for betterment of Africa. And there is no better people that can work for the betterment of Africa who are in a better position than the African diaspora.
Yes.
This is the #1 development partners for Africa, because there are people who already have they have families back in Africa. They have certain resources they can leverage back in Africa. They have infrastructure and other things that they can be able to use. So development partners are important. And so African diaspora and others fall into that category. People who have their mind to Africa and who can be able to help Africa. The next, and that's still the same word diet, is infrastructure. Infrastructure. Africa needs the right infrastructure.
Yes.
Infrastructure in terms of ensuring that people can be able to move around, govern themselves around well, have structures of education, have structures of better health, have structures of communication. Because as you very well know, communication is one of the areas where we have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
So with a better communication, Africans will be able to trade better. In fact, we are very, very happy that this year, the Africa Free Trade was launched,
yes,
so that people can be able to trade within African countries.
That's a very good news. Yes.
Yes. So still following the same word diet, the E is for enabling environment. Enabling environment. That has to be created. That environment in which people can be able to, the private sector can be able to be the engine of growth. Because governments can lead in terms of having policies and enacting rules, but you need the private sector to implement projects that will make people wealthier and happier. So the enabling environment is very, very key. And then, of course, the T for technology. Africa needs technology.
Yes.
And the right technology. And the technology that helps it to improve and get better. So with that kind of technology, it's going to be able to reach further. So that is what I'm calling like the diet that Africa needs.
D-I-E-T.
D-I-E-T, diet.
Okay, diet.
For a start. And that diet now is going to lead to us to another item that I'm going to mention down the road.
Okay.
But that is what I'm saying that Africa requires in the beginning. Good development partners, good infrastructure, good enabling environment, and good technology transfer.
That's awesome. I mean, I hope that Africa embraced the diet, and that's perfectly the perfect diet. It's like I can say they don't call you doctor for nothing, because a doctor is prescribing a good diet for Africa. So I'm really glad that we are able to cover that, because that was supposed to be my next question. But so if you guys have any question for Dr. Chiuri, feel free to put it in the comment section. So One Voice Consortium, One Voice Global Consortium, actually, you guys are well organized. I see that you have different sections, different teams. You have many organizations under your umbrella. How people can join you? Because I'm sure there are other people in the other side of Africa that wants to join your organizations, that wants to be part of your organization, and just work for Africa. How people can join you, for example?
Yeah, thank you, Demba, for that question. We have right now an organization. We have almost like 65 member organizations within One Voice Consortium. And these organizations are in various diverse areas. There are some organizations that are in the education. They help the education sector. There are those that help socioeconomic sector. There are those that are in governance. Like I want just to mention one organization in governance called the Kenya Bar Association that brings together people people who have studied law
legal firm
and the legal practice here in US that help us on the legal sector, led by Attorney Laban Opande.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the education sector, as I mentioned earlier, led by Professor Cherono, who is also the chair of the Kenya Scholars and Studies Association. And she's also a commissioner at the UNESCO, that is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, where she represents virtually Africa within, or the diaspora within that particular organization. And then we have others, leaders in the socio-economic sector, like Ralph Kilondu, who leads the Kenya USA SACCO, that is Savings and Credit Organization. So what I'm saying here is that we have people who are very well qualified in various sectors, and they lead those sectors very, very ably. But to join our One Voice Consortium, you have to be vetted. You have to be vetted because you have to be somebody or an organization that is already impacting the diaspora in some way.
Okay.
So you must be a member of a certain other organization that is already providing and uplifting people in the diaspora somewhat.
Okay. You have to be doing something in the diaspora for the people in the diaspora, especially in the continent. You have to exist, actually. So we have a question from one of our viewers, Peterson Luguro. Thank you so much for your question. He says, "It is good. It is a good idea, but we need to include our children, that are born in the diaspora in this type of programs, uniting Africans in the diaspora." What can you say to Peterson about this question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Peterson, for that question. In fact, youth empowerment is a very, very strong component of our sector. In fact, we have our youth league within the One Voice Consortium that is led by people that are in various educational institutions here in the diaspora. And towards that, one of the things that we have done is to continue having a conversation on how to continue improving the well-being of our children who are born here in the diaspora, because they face many challenges. In fact, they face more challenges than we who came from Africa, because some of them face identity challenges because they meet people from other cultures. So some of our members have been putting programs together on how to improve our children born here. And I will just mention one organization called, for instance, EPAD. EPAD stands for Enhancing People of African Descent. Okay. This is an organization based in New Jersey, led by Sarah Munyere, who is also a member of One Voice Consortium. And what it does is just to empower and help our children that are born here recognize that their culture is important, the challenges that they face here, they can be able to overcome them, and they have been doing this very, very, very well. So within One Voice Consortium, we have many organizations that are there that are already helping our children very, very well. You just become a member of the One Voice Consortium, and we link you with all these organizations that are there to do that.
Yeah, I think I met her, and we had a really great conversation. I think she's based in Washington or something like that, if I may not. But another person...
She's based in New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. great lady. Another person also I met was Mr. Lucas. I forgot the last name. I'm sorry. We did have some exchange on. We did had some Zoom call, and we were talking about the Wakanda City, the one in Malindi, I think. So I want our viewers to also be blessed by this great initiative that you guys are undertaking, which is the Wakanda City. You know, that has a lot of significance because we've seen an artist, an African born artist, but who, who is famous here in the U.S., Akon to be more specific, who launched a project to build a Wakanda City in Senegal. So we're not seeing that city, you know, starting yet, but there's a lot of hope. And we hope he's gonna be able to realize that project and he's gonna achieve it. But what I've seen when I went to the event that you guys organized is that you guys had a well thought plan on how to finance and build a Wakanda City. I know there's a lot to say about it, but I just want our people to understand a little bit what you guys are doing with those Wakanda cities. So, Doctor, can you explain to our viewers and explain to us, you know, what is the concept of those building those Wakanda City and how you are going about building those cities in Africa?
Yeah, thank you, Demba, for that question. As I mentioned earlier, African Union put together a mandate to continue developing six African cities, and we were very much inspired towards this by Dr. Arikana Chiambori, who was, of course, the former AU ambassador here in US, who has since, inspired us to look at how to create the first Wakanda City in Cape Coast, Ghana.
Wow.
And then we thought of then doing the second city in Malindi, Kenya. The one in Ghana will be launched in December of this year, around the first week of December. And the one in Kenya will be launched in the month of March of 2022. I want to speak for the one in Kenya. The one in Kenya, the blueprint and the architectural infrastructure has already been developed. It's already in place.
Amazing.
The residential areas, the places where people will have their homes is already earmarked. There are plots of a quarter of an acre, a half an acre, 1 acre, 2 acres. There's even land set aside also for agricultural development for those who want to, grow things like pineapple, like mangoes, and so forth. So, and then of course, there's areas that are set aside for commercial and industrial development. There's also an agricultural and medical university that is nearby.
Wow.
So the whole smart city concept is on move here. And this particular Wakanda opens opportunities for people in the African diaspora to invest back home. Because sometimes you want to own something that you can call yours.
Yes.
Even if you are in the diaspora. Because you may not be having something that you already own, but this is a channel in which it gives even people who are of African descent, but they are outside of Africa, to own something in Africa, or have a place where they can perhaps even retire later on, that has the same kind of opportunities and the lifestyle that they are already used to. And so it is something that we came together and thought that, hey, this would be good to develop, and so that it can give a chance for our people in the diaspora to be able to invest back home. and it
Awesome.
is doing well. And maybe Demba, you'll invite us again here with a number of
Yes,
people who already
I would
investing
love
in
to.
Wakanda.
Yeah, so that I mean, thank you so much to sum it up in a in a very short time. There's so much to say, and we'll definitely come back here to break it down for people to understand. This is a community. This is an organization that is getting together not to just discuss and argue and talk politics. No, this is a community that's coming together as one. It's not one country; it's many countries coming together. We talked about Ghana, we talked about Kenya, we talked about Zimbabwe, and to put together a plan, like an actual plan, not dreams, like really good started and thought plan to build something in different countries in Africa called Wakanda City. And those Wakanda City, I've listened to to the people that are involved in this project. The pitch they explain to me what they are building. It's amazing. You have everything. Universities. I've even listened to one lady who is in the medical field who was already projecting herself to be working there. We have you can buy land, you can buy homes. It's amazing, guys. I really hope all the other African community are listening to what we are talking about today, and they can definitely join in or they can do the same thing. Because our goal is to to share things that best practices that can help our continent and help our countries move forward, even though we are here. So we have some questions here before we move to the final questions, and not take a lot of your time, Doctor. I know it's a long afternoon. Abu Bakar is saying, how can the diaspora lift millions of African out of poverty? Ooh, that's a big question, though.
Wow. Yeah. That's a good question, Abu Bakar. In fact, as you always know, poverty, and especially poverty reduction, has been something that many African governments have put many policies on that. Because when people are poor, or when they don't have enough to eat, they cannot be able to be very productive. So poverty reduction has to be at the center of every efforts in Africa. Now, diaspora doesn't have all the prescriptions to lift Africa out of poverty, but there are suggestions. As I said earlier, I mentioned about the diet, and from the diet, then you come to things that you can be able to dive deep in. In fact, when we have the diet now, after the diet, what do you do? And towards that, I have I'm subscribing to something that is called depth. Depth would be DEPTH. We have moved from the diet to help us improve, and now the depth. Depth would be, first of all, diversification. Africa needs diversification. We must diversify our while we're improving our improvements that are there in the macroeconomic and business environments. Countries have to diversify their exports. If one country is just exporting one item, then they need to diversify their export base so that they can do better. E would stand for export competitiveness. Countries must become more competitive in the global marketplace. What am I saying? I'm saying that our African countries need to look at how they can be able to become more export oriented, because to get people out of poverty, you must be able to get markets for them, for the products that they are able to grow. That small scale farmer or that small business owner in Africa needs to know or where their market is going to be, whether it is regional markets or whether it is global markets. So export competitiveness is very important. P would stand for productivity. To get people out of poverty, they must be more productive. They must be more focused on getting better out of their labor. They must be more productive. We see here in the Western world, people working almost having a 24-hour economy. Can we have, even if it is not a 24-hour economy, can we start with a 12-hour economy in Africa? A 16-hour economy in Africa?
Yeah.
So that we can be able to improve. So we need to start seeing what we can be able to dive into. We've already talked about the diet, but now dive into. We are talking about productivity. T would be for technology upgrades. To get people out of poverty, we must modernize their processes and through technology. There must be better technology. That farmer that is growing corn somewhere in Zambia needs to get better inputs, better fertilizer, better manure for their farm, better seeds, better equipment that is out there so that they can get productivity out of them. To get people out of poverty, you need the H in depth, which is a human well-being, our health. The health of our people needs to be better. The health of our people needs to be better because, to get people out of poverty, their health has to be good. People have to have access to medical facilities. People have to have a better access to health clinics where they can be able to be looked at and their health improved. In fact, as we all know, by the year 2050, there's projections that Africa's population will be 50% of Africa's population will be under 25 years.
Yes.
People under 25 years. So we need to sustain that, because the current projections are, and we are saying is that 1 out of 5 children die before they get 15 years in Africa. So we have to improve the health of our people so that they can be able to get out of poverty. So I mentioned that, Abubakar, so that you know that to get people out of poverty, not only do we have to look at the diet that I talked about earlier, but now we have to go deep down and have a depth of things. And that's why I prescribed the DEPTH.
That's really deep, and that's a really good in-depth explanation of the solutions, many solutions that can lift Africa and millions of Africans out of poverty. But Abubakar is insisting. I mean, he has many questions, but we're gonna just go real quick to answer those questions. Do you think the diaspora community is ready to develop Africa's human capital? I think he's this time is the diaspora and Africa's human capital.
Yes, absolutely, Abubakar. In fact, I think this is the one area that the African diaspora, we are doing a lot. In fact, within the all the Wakanda cities, human capital is at the center of those investments. The diaspora is investing in better universities, in better colleges, in fact, in better technical colleges, because there is an understanding right now, or a school of thought, that people need to get better technical skills, better technical skills so that they can be able to be better in the private sector and have a better chance. So the diaspora is investing better into improving the technical colleges that are there. In fact, Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium has a technology project where we are partnering with 7 counties in Kenya to help improve their technical institutes. So yes, that is just one aspect of it. In fact, the Wakanda City that will be in Cape Coast, Ghana, is focused on having a medical university within that. So each and every project that we are doing across Africa has a component on improving the human capital, because without improving the human capital, all the other sources of productivity cannot be improved.
Human is in the center. So next question is agriculture. He says is the backbone of developing African countries. And how can the diaspora community develop that sector in Africa? And what are the models in terms of agriculture? Thank you, Abubakar from Sierra Leone. We have people watching us from Uganda. We have Rwanda. We say hello to all of you guys.
Wow, I like that question, because as you all know, agriculture is the backbone. In fact, let me say, the future of Africa is agriculture. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because Africa can be the bread basket of the entire world. It is the only continent that has vast lands that can be able to produce a lot of food. Africa has enough arable land to produce various crops for not just the African continent, but even for the rest of the world. And so there is the school of thought right now that Africa needs to move to the next level, where they need to improve and do value addition to the agricultural output that they have, so that products that are being grown and harvested in Africa go to the next level, where they are being processed and packaged for markets worldwide. By doing that, we give chances, opportunities to the local private sector to produce and have labor and attract labor, so that these products will be processed in Africa, they will be packaged in Africa, and are sold for the world. That way, we can be able to utilize the resources that we have in agriculture to generate other industries. And with more industries within the value chain, that means Africa becomes more competitive. So I'm persuaded to see that agriculture and livestock management can be the backbone of our future in Africa.
Yep, not traditional agriculture, but modern agriculture. Thank you so much, Abubakar. So we are just going to take this last question because there's a lot to cover. We have, so Home Football is, I think it's from is Rwanda. It says that leadership is one of our problem in Africa. So that question, I was really expecting that, because that's really central. One leader in Africa can make a huge difference than any other leader in the world. Do you think we should give more opportunities to young leaders? That's a question.
Yeah, and that question is very, very key, because as you all know, leadership is key to everything that is there. In fact, we started with the issue around diets. We came to depth, and now I'll subscribe to another thought here, which is great.
Okay, great.
Which is great. And great here, we moved from diet to depth, and now we are at great. And as you all know, leadership is key to any development of any country. And while each country has its own challenges in terms of growth, leadership is still the central focus of everything. So I wanted to bring the school of thought where G stands for good governance. Good governance. And also gender equality. So the G in there, okay. So leadership that gives good governance and gender equality is good. That's one subscription that I have there. The other leadership that is good for Africa is where they offer regional integration. Leadership that is bringing regional integration. Why am I saying this? We know that even in countries that are like in Europe, they have European Union, which brings people together so that they can be able to utilize the resources that each people have. No country can live on its own. So we are looking at leadership that can be able to integrate things together as a community of working together. If it is like now East African, they can have an East African community block. If it is West Africa, they can have what they call the ECOWAS. If it is Southern Africa, they can have Southern African Development Cooperation. So what am I saying? I'm saying that our African countries need to be in these economic blocks, because these economic blocks are what can help them together. So regional integration is key. The other aspect that also I want to put here in the grid is the economic management of our resources. And this is important because without proper economic management of the resources that people have, is going to perish. So we are talking about leadership and that understands what our the economy of that country is and how it needs to be better. And I'm not going to mention countries here by name, but we know countries that have done very, very well because the leadership in those countries understands that the economic management is the key to removing people out of poverty. So leadership is key here in that area. The next area to make great is applied technology. Leadership that understands that we must have applied technology, not just technology for the sake of technology, but technology that is applicable to the African continent, and technology that is, that is there for this generation and the generation to come. So we are talking of even using digitizing Africa.
Yeah.
And currency and so forth. So we are talking about leadership that understands what is there right now and there for the future for Africa. Not just looking at the current situation, but looking at what else is there for Africa to come
in the future,
using the applied technology, private sector development, looking at digitizing our communication. For instance, and I'm just giving this as an example, you have heard of mobile money transfer in Eastern Africa, led by a company called Safaricom, and how it has revolutionized private sector and made everything available for people to trade in. So we are talking about looking at those kind of platforms where people are able to transfer money and trade easily within communities. And finally, I want to subscribe to the word, the letter T for trade and private sector. So leadership that understands that governance, regional integration, economic management, applied technology, and finally, trade would be the leadership that is there for Africa. I don't want to say these are the only things that are necessary, but at least this will be part of it. I don't know whether I answered that. But then to answer your question, the last question about young leaders, then this is where I'm subscribing that the youth of Africa is the future of Africa.
Of course, definitely.
People who understand these things. So people who understand that we need to have a digital transformation. And that is where we need to embark on having the right youthful leaders for Africa.
Thank you so much, Doctor, on that. I'm just gonna add a little bit on that. I've seen recently that Nigeria was ready to launch the e-naira, and Ghana is thinking about launching the e-city. No matter what we can say, we can criticize, we can say whatever we want about those two things, but those are two big move. Because in countries, West Africa, for example, we're still struggling to have our own currency, and while other countries are moving to the digital currencies, because anybody who understand the finance and understand the move of things know that the digital currency will come and just wipe out all the traditional currencies, just like money came and did with gold, not gold, but other currencies or other means of exchange that we have in the past. So I say kudos to those two government. I really encourage other African countries to look into those options. Thank you so much, Doctor, for the diet, the death. We had the great. So to be great, you know what Africa should do. And Abubakar is just finishing with this question: where you see the future of Africa? Where do you see Africa? In the future, what do you think the future of Africa will be?
Thank you, Denver, for that question. And I think the future of Africa is promising. The future of Africa is promising. From where I stand and how I view it, I can see a continent that has vast opportunities. Of course, conflicts will always be there, but it is how conflicts are handled and managed that is going to give a pathway for growth and development. Of course, I did mention earlier that it is important for having an environment where jobs are being created, because if you have a youthful population that is not having jobs, that can be a recipe for problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to subscribe that Africa's future lies in creating jobs, in transforming our economies. The next thing that Africa needs to look at is digitizing, having a digital economy, just like you have mentioned. And I know what happens in countries like Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, Kenya, Guinea, is watched by other countries, because they're trying to see what is happening in those countries. You just mentioned about the e-naira that is being created in Nigeria, and also the digitization of currency in Ghana. These are moves that are being watched by other African countries to see how they are going to impact them. And these are great economies around Africa, and if this is going to be successful, that is going to be the model that is being used. I mentioned earlier about the mobile money transfer programs in East Africa, led by Safaricom. Now, this is becoming, like an East and Central African thing, and it is likely to spread all across Africa. So again, these are moves that are going to be very, very necessary. I'm also subscribing to the thought that to make Africa even greater, we must make our institutions more efficient and more accountable. We talked about leadership earlier. We need to be having leaders who are more accountable to their people, having more efficient, governments, more efficient institutions, more efficient, workforce that is working under them, and things like that. We also need to, invest more in our people. Invest more in our people, because I'm looking at Africa, and if we don't invest in our people through transfer of skills, through helping them become more healthier, making them more wealthier. In Kenya, for instance, there is this SACCOs. I don't know whether other countries what they have, but they're called savings and credit cooperatives, where people pool their money together.
Mm-hmm.
That has been a great movement
Yes.
in Kenya that has helped people invest well. And so investing in people becomes very, very critical. I'm also persuaded that Africa must also think about sustainability and climate change and having mitigation for this, because we have seen how climate change has affected other countries and other continents. So we must start thinking about sustainability, what is going to help Africa maintain its natural path and things like that, and avoid conflict and violence. So I think, to sum this up, Demba, and I'm just saying from somebody who is trying to look ahead, Africa has opportunities, but we must understand that the conflicts and things that are holding us back, we must avoid them and try to, as I said earlier, have a diet, go deep, and finally have a great leadership.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor. I think we had a really great discussion. A lot of knowledge came out of this discussion. This is a discussion that I would definitely love to watch back, just to go over the deep, the depth, and the great, and just learn those concepts a little more and use them in my daily life and my discussions. I really thank you for that, Doctor. We are very grateful to you being here with us today, and we want to give you the opportunity to address again the African diaspora and Africa in general, and just what is your message to Africa today?
My message is just around pulling our resources together. Unity is key to everything. In fact, I'm persuaded to, and I bring back the thought that I keep hearing, that like the way that the Jewish diaspora has helped their country Israel.
Yes.
The Chinese diaspora, how it has helped China. The Indian diaspora, how it has helped India. The Singaporean diaspora, how it has helped Singapore. The Korean diaspora, how it has helped Korea. Why am I mentioning all these countries? I'm mentioning all these countries because their diaspora did a lot in getting those countries where they are. And I'm seeing the same kind of situation here. We need Africans to come together in a unity of thought to help this continent. This continent can be greater than all the other continents. It has more opportunities. It can be the great continent. We can actually, right now, we are a low or medium economy. We can be in the high economy. This is the continent where civilization started. We had even universities long before other continents had universities. So what am I saying? We have the template to be better. We have the template to go far. We just have to be united in thought and see what are things that are separating us, so that we can be able to work on that. And towards that, I say, let's join organizations like Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium. Let's join organizations like ADDI. Let us borrow from others what they have done better with. Let us learn lessons from others that can go towards improving Africa. But I have a good message here. Africans, we need to be together and work together.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. So we're gonna finish with this great song from Yemi Alade, Africa and Saudi Soul. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching us today. Thank you for being with us. Like, share, and see you next time on our conversation with an African change maker. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Demba. I want to again thank you for even hosting me here. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward even to another session where we can come in and even be able to talk more about things that we are doing under the Africa Diaspora, platform.
Thank you, Doctor.
So
thank you. Hakuna matata.